Good. Hey, how y'all doing today?
All right, man. How y'all doing, man?
Oh, hey, we got a good one today. We
Yes,
hit it
sir.
right on time. We came up with this, let y'all know we came up with this topic before all the news from today. So we hit it right on head. The topic is rigged or reshaped, the battle of who gets to vote in America. This is on the heels of what happened in Virginia today. My man, Suleiman's home state for right
Well,
now.
Commonwealth, baby, we came through last night.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to talk about that a little more when we get into it, but let's get started with this. Generation get tested, and we've said this before. Some by war, some by recession, some by slow grind of injustice. We're getting tested by all of it right now. Our test, one of our tests, we're watching the rules of democracy get rewritten in real time. Sometimes in broad daylight, sometimes in the shadows. And the questions echoing across barbershops, groups, chats, and kitchen tables is simple. Are certain political leaders trying to rig American election or reshape them in ways that change who gets to participate? Today, Jen's making sense. We're going to unpack those very questions, not predicting outcomes, not telling you who to vote for, just breaking down what's happening, why it matters, and what it means for a community like ours. I'm gonna let Suleiman address the fact that we've been getting a lot of comments lately, and what he need to tell you about the comments from this episode.
Yeah, so we've been getting a lot of viewers, man, who have been listening to our program and then commenting. I mean, most of the comments are silly comments, pejorative stuff, people, calling names like we're children and stuff like that. But some of the comments are legitimate disagreements. So what we try to do is go in and hold an adult conversation as much as we can, responding back to people. And the reality is that the stuff that's going on in the country right now, the people on one side of the aisle are upset because the people on the other side of the aisle are actually starting to fight back and do the type of things that the Republicans have been doing for a very long time. I mean, I think we're going to talk a little bit about the election here in Virginia. And I'll just say it and I'll say it again when we discuss it. But my issue has always been is okay, Texas, you wanna do that? Okay, that's perfectly fine, but it shouldn't require I should not have to live my life the way people in Texas wanna live their lives, and that's essentially what Texas did, is Texas put more people into Congress so that they would control the Congress, and then they can implement policies of people in Texas and conservatives, and what I'm saying is, I don't wanna live like Texas. If I wanted to live like Texas, I would move to Texas. I live in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So the vote yesterday here in Virginia was based upon trying to level the playing field to allow for the Congress to be representative of the people. I'll continue and say that here in Virginia, I live in the northern part of Virginia. And anybody who lives in Virginia can tell you that the tax base comes from Northern Virginia, right? Most of the taxes, most of the money that the Commonwealth makes comes from Northern Virginia. We have the largest population in Virginia, or the large population hubs like the Hampton Roads area where the military is, the Richmond area, and the Northern Virginia area. The other outliers in Southern Virginia, Southeast, Southwest Virginia, yes, they're more conservative, but they don't put the most tax base into this state. So why shouldn't the people who are paying the most for the rest of the state have representation? And that's what it was about. It was about leveling the playing field in a temporary way because Abigail Spanberger, excuse me, Governor Spanberger said that this is a temporary thing and that it will be voted on again. But in the interim, we needed to level the playing ground, and we did that. So I don't want to hear any crocodile tears from people in Arkansas and Mississippi and Texas complaining about what we did here in Virginia. So I'll leave it at
Yeah.
that for now.
Yeah. So that wasn't the opening we wanted to start off with, but that's the opening we started off with. And that's a good thing about our podcast. We can go wherever we want with that. And the last thing I'll say about it is the difference between what they are doing and what I say Republicans are doing and what Democrats are doing. When Donald Trump called Texas and said, I need you to redistrict
Yep.
because I need these 4 seats.
Yep. No vote. No
No
vote.
vote. They just did it, okay? In the Democratic ran states, California and Virginia so far, they had a vote. They put it to the people
Yeah.
and let the people
Yep.
decide what was gonna happen. That's the difference. That's a democracy there. You might not like it, but the people in that state voted on it. Texas didn't even have an opportunity to vote on it because
No.
their leadership didn't allow them to vote on it. So this is Genius Making Sense. I'm Marvin,
And I'm
and
Woman.
go ahead with it.
And today we're stepping into a conversation that's been bubbling for years.
There you go. And our first segment today is going what people mean by rigging. That's important because that word is thrown out there a lot. Donald Trump been throwing it out there for the last 10, 12 years or so. So let's start with the word itself, rigging. People throw that around like confetti, but it means different things depending on who you ask.
Right. Some folks use rigging to describe changing vote rules in ways that make it harder for certain groups to participate. Others use it to describe influence, who counts the votes, who certifies them, or who gets removed from the voter roll.
And then you got people who say, nah, this is about election integrity. We're just protecting the process.
Exactly. So before we even get into the politics, we got to understand the landscape. Because rigging isn't always about stuffing ballots or hacking machines, sometimes it's about changing the rules of the game.
And historically, when the rules change, somebody benefits and somebody gets pushed aside. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it a little bit now.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, as I said earlier, and I've been in Virginia, man, for over 30 years. I mean, I've been here since 1991 when I was in the military. And when I moved to Virginia in 1991, Virginia was a red state. It wasn't purple; it was red. Despite Northern Virginia, it was still a red state, and probably for a decade, it stayed that way. And in the early 2000s is when um, the Northern Virginia population started using its influence. Because I've been here long enough to remember when we used to drive around here in Northern Virginia and our roads, and we'd be like all on our roads. And I'd go down to Richmond, and it's smooth sailing. Or I'd go down to Hampton Roads, and it's
Hampton
smooth
Roads.
sailing.
Yeah.
So all the tax dollars and the high cost of living and the money that we were paying into the Commonwealth of Virginia, and they weren't spending any money up here. All their money was going to all other places around the states. But none of the conservatives or people who didn't like what we did last night, they didn't have anything to say because they were perfectly fine with getting all of our tax revenue coming from Northern Virginia to take care of the rest of the state. They were perfectly happy with that, even though we had no representation. But over the last 10 to 15 years, what's been happening is that the rest of the state is starting to realize that the Democrats, for the most part, are trying to take care of their needs in the Commonwealth. And the Republicans are lock, stock, and barrel behind people like Donald Trump, and they're not taking care of them. So they started voting more. A lot of the conservative areas in the Commonwealth started voting more blue, which is how the Democrats won the assembly in Richmond.
Yeah.
And now they own the governorship, the attorney general, the lieutenant governor, the assembly, and the lower chamber. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
completely all Democrat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's democracy at work there. That people clearly saw something they didn't like, just like the vote last night. They saw something they didn't like and they voted on it, they spoke on it, and they won fair and square. Now, of course, the Republican Party is putting a lawsuit and it was halted by lower court till it goes to the Supreme Court. But I just can't see how it can be overturned. If the court overturns it, the court is overturning the people's vote. And that's what democracy is. I can't see a court doing that. I just wanted to say that.
Well, Governor Sandberg did exactly what the Virginia Supreme Court told her to do. They
Mhm.
told them you have to put it to the people. So it's going back on Thursday, but they did exactly what the Virginia Supreme Court said to do. So I
Yeah.
don't know why they would overturn it. It was put out, people voted on it, they won. Why would the Supreme Court overturn something that they told them to do?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about this whole rig thing, the definition of rig, Donald Trump even said that the vote last night was rigged.
Of
So
course.
what the playbook is for the Republican Party is if they lose, whatever they lose is rigged. If they win, it was a great vote.
Sure.
You know, have you ever heard them say that a vote that the Republican Party won was rigged? Matter of fact, as I think about it, have you ever heard the Democratic Party at large on a regular basis say that the votes are rigged? For the most part, they go on, they accept the vote, and they move on.
Yeah.
Now the Democratic Party is fighting back, and people don't know what to say, don't know what to do. And but for the thing I always say, but for Donald Trump asking Texas to do what he asked them to do, I don't think this would be an issue.
Sure.
But right now, I don't know where this is gonna stop. I really don't know where it's gonna stop. I don't know who's gonna stop it. The American people may not have the power to stop it in one voting cycle. It may take several voting cycles to stop this kind of stuff, just like it may take several voting cycles to get all the bad apples out of the Congress and the Senate and stuff. So, anything else on the definition of rigged and everything?
You
Okay,
know what that means. I mean,
yeah.
it's just a projection. Anything that they say somebody else is doing, you can assume that they're already doing it or they plan to do it. It's all projection. It's constant, it's gaslighting, and in gaslighting, just you confused. So I think we're good there.
Yeah. So go ahead. Let's talk about what's actually happening right now
So
in our
let's talk a
city.
little bit of fact. No predictions, no assumptions, just what's been publicly reported.
Since 2000, since 2020, a lot of states, especially states with Republican leadership, have passed new voting laws. Some shortened early voting windows. Some restricted mail-in ballots. Some changed ID requirements. Some shift who has the power to certify election results.
And look, supporters of these laws say they're about preventing fraud, even though multiple courts, investigations, and audits have found no widespread fraud in recent elections.
Meanwhile, civil rights groups argue that these laws disproportionately affect Black voters, young voters, and urban communities, just like you just got through talking about.
Yeah, and that's where the tension comes in. Because even if the stated goal is security, the impact can still be unequal.
And impact is what people feel. Impact is what shapes trust and everything. I'm gonna go back to that first segment that I talked about in in this segment, the first part that we talked about, where these states are changing laws. In the voting rights bill, I believe there was a stipulation where all the southern states, before they could change laws, it had to be approved through the Supreme Court. Well, the Donald Trump led Supreme Court struck that down. And the day that they struck it down, the next day, those southern states start making new rules and everything. And they've been making new rules ever since.
Sure.
So there's no guardrail on this type of stuff. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, no, I mean, just to piggyback on that, I mean, we knew this was going to happen. I mean, Black folks in the United States have seen this happen years and years and years and years ago. The only thing that prevented these states from doing what they're currently doing was the Voting Right Act, certain pieces of the Voting Rights Act.
Right.
And then the Supreme Court, who's bought and sold by people with money in this country, added it. And I have to ask the question. I've always asked the question, for what reason? If your policies are beneficial to the people in that state or within that district, why do you need to change the voting law? There's nothing about having a voting time from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. that affects your policies. If you got good policies, it doesn't matter if it's 6 to 6 or 7 to 7 or 10 to 10. But they
That's
know
what I'm
they have,
saying.
right. They know they have bad policies. So let's shorten the voting time. Not allowing people to early vote. Again, I don't understand that. Why do you want to have hundreds and thousands of people standing in
Voting at the
vote
same time.
when they can come and vote 2, 3, 4 weeks ahead of time? It makes no sense. And like I said 2 weeks ago, our last session is If you want fairness, there's two things that can change fairness voting in the United States right now. One, make it a holiday. Nobody works on voting day. No one works. It's a holiday. Take one of the other holidays away. We got a lot of holidays that we probably don't need. Take one of those away. Make the election day in November a national holiday. People can go and vote. Second, put the appropriate amount of voting machines in the voting districts based upon population.
Seems really simple, don't it?
It's simple. It's simple. Those are the two things you do. If you do those two things, we'll go from having 40% of people or 50% of people to vote in the United States to having 70 or 80% of people to vote. But the folks that have bad policies don't want that to happen. They want you to have to take off, 3 to 4 hours, which you may or may not have at your job. Try to get daycare if you have someone watch your child while you go and vote. They want to make it a struggle for you so you can't vote against them. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. The next segment we're gonna go to right now because I think it's very important because it's the reason why you and I are here with Gents Making Sense.
Mhm.
And the question is gonna be asked. Somebody in our that see our video is gonna ask, so why is this so important to you? Why is this important to black people? That's gonna be the question that's gonna be asked. Why are y'all always talking about stuff like this? Why has it gotta be negative? Well, you gotta understand this is not negative. We're just calling out as we see it. And for the most part, we're speaking facts and adding our perspective to it.
Mhm.
And that's what a talk show does pretty much is you tell the facts, you put the facts out like they are, and then we give our spiel on it. You might not like it. That's where the comments come in. That's okay. I respect your comment. Go ahead. So why do black people feel like we're being targeted?
Because that's always the case. I mean, it literally is. I mean, my point has always been with Republicans is, and as I said probably 2 years ago, you and I had a conversation, is that I don't necessarily completely disagree with a lot of the policies that are on the more conservative side. There are
Right.
some things that they talk about that I am probably lock, stock, and barrel with them.
Yeah.
I have a difficult time pulling a lever down or pushing a button for somebody who looks with me with discontent.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
that's what a lot of them do, is that you look at me as if I'm different, as if you're better than me. When I know for a fact that you're not. And then you expect for me to turn around and forget all that, have you spit in my face, smack me upside my head, and expect for me to go into the voting booth and vote for you just because. They don't wanna earn our vote. They don't wanna come into our communities or come into our businesses or talk to us about stuff that is beneficial to our community, but then you expect me to turn around and vote for you. That's not the way it's gonna be, and that's not the way, I am. So that's why I think it's important, to us. Like, let me give you another example. I mean, even today, I was sitting here watching the news, and you got the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the United States, a lawsuit and an investigation into the Southern Poverty Law Center, the FPLC.
Yeah.
For what? And they're charging. They paid people to go and infiltrate white supremacist organizations to get information. Really? Let's see. I mean, that's our law enforcement does that all the time. That's what a CIA.
All the time. They're probably doing your job for you.
Exactly. That's a law enforcement tactic. So why wouldn't an organization do that? Why wouldn't an organization do that? We know the FBI infiltrated Martin Luther King's group. We know that,
All day,
right?
every
We
day,
know that. We know they infiltrated the Nation of Islam with Malcolm X.
all day, every day.
But now we got the FBI, a government organization, infiltrating the SPLG. But they're not infiltrating the Ku Klux Klan. They're not infiltrating the Proud Boys. They're not infiltrating all these.
Most of the Proud Boys work with the administration.
Exactly. You're not going in and investigating them, but now you're going to go after the SPLG. See, come on. And my warning to people who support organizations like that, this is a false flag. What they want to do is they want to see what the outrage is going to be by them going after them, because their next target is the NAACP.
Yeah, for sure.
So you need to understand that they want to go with them and say, let's see how far we can get with these guys, and
Mhm.
then we're going to go after the NAACP, because that's what they want. They don't want any organization out there preventing these organizations from being racist to us, from treating people the wrong way.
Educating people. That's
Exactly.
what it is. They don't wanna be people to be educated. And why do we feel this way? Because we've seen the movie before.
Right.
You know, poll taxes, literacy tests, intimidation, and now in some places you see fewer drop boxes in majority black counties. Our voter roll purge that hit black communities harder. I mean, it's really ridiculous. And these people call themselves Christians and stuff. And that's the thing that I've told you once before. I'm a member of Ebenezer Baptist Church here in Atlanta, and my pastor is Senator Warnoff, and he says it all the time. I just want to see how I want to see these Christians that are making these rules that are hurting poor people that need help. I want to see what Bible they're reading from, and I want to see how they worship on Sunday and go and make these rules on Monday. You know what I'm saying? It's really a bad situation, and I don't understand how Christians can do that. Go
Well,
ahead,
we're
sir.
getting off a little script here, but I mean, I've said this for a very long time. Is I don't know what religion people claim that they follow, what pillars they follow, because to me it's like, okay, you can't con God, and I've said that for a very long time. You cannot con God.
That part.
See everything that you're doing. He knows your heart, he knows your mind. You cannot con God, which means that a lot of these congressmen and senators and our president and people who are in powerful positions, how you treat people who cannot
Mhm.
do anything to you is important. So you cannot go around and rape and pillage and destroy and take away from people for the majority of your life, and then the last 5 to 10 years of your life, or when you get older, realize that you're going to be on this earth less than you've already been. Now, all of a sudden, you want to change your tone and have some minister or priest come in and bless you with some type of holy water, whatever it is that you use, and think that that's going to get you into heaven. That's not the way it works. There's a reason why none of us knows when our time is up.
Yeah,
Because if I
exactly.
knew that when I turned 70, that I was not gonna be here anymore, then I would spend the last 5 years of my life doing
Exactly.
everything I can to be good. But these guys act as though you're not gonna have to answer for what you've done, and that to me is surprising. I mean, literally, I'm gonna tell you, I don't care. I don't care what you do with your life, but it's just amazing to me that people don't understand that at some point you're gonna have to explain to whoever it is that you believe in why you were the person you were when you were here on earth, especially when you were told how you should be.
Yeah, yeah, it's plain as day. So, let's see. So, the people it said you don't have to say the quiet part out loud for people to feel the echo, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I lost where we were talking
Yeah,
about.
that's alright, and that's why so many black voters look at these changes and say, "Hold up, what's really going on here?" So, we talked about all that, so we ain't even gotta go over that because we covered all that. We know what's going on, but we just got I mean, it's so blatant today. It's so blatant. It's in your face, and I always said, they playing in our face and they laughing at us. But like I said, you can't run away from Judgment Day. You can't do it. So keep playing in our face, keep stepping on the poor's neck, keep not feeding, not housing the homeless, keep people from getting health care. Keep on doing it and see what happens to you. You know,
Well, again, I
nothing
mean,
good gonna come of it.
not to get too, not to get too religious, but I mean, people we've seen this movie before. I mean, there's all
Yeah,
types of stories in the Bible
yeah.
and and Torah and in the Quran that talk about what is going to happen if you disobey.
Hmm.
And I don't understand it. I don't understand our congressman. I don't understand why they allow money to determine how they vote and their morals. But it's like At some point, you're going to have to answer to that. And it's not going to just be a simple answer where you get smacked on the hand. I mean, again, our religious books tell us exactly what you're facing if you don't make it to whatever you consider to be heaven or paradise. It tells you
Mhm.
exactly what it is that you're looking into. And I don't understand why people think that that is acting right here and taking care of people here, your fellow human being, as opposed to going to where you're going to be going when you're no longer on this earth. I don't understand.
Exactly. Your work, it says your work here on earth would be judged.
Right.
So, yeah. So So critics say, what does critics say about Trump and GOP strategy? Because let's be real, that's what we're talking about right now, the Trump and GOP strategy to take away the vote from certain people. And you can call it rigged, you can call it reshape, you can call it whatever you want to. I call it unfair. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. A lot of journalists, scholars, and advocacy groups have raised concerns about strategies supported by Donald Trump and some Republican leaders. Go ahead, sir.
We're not giving opinions here. We're reporting what's been said publicly.
Critics point to these things alike. Efforts to challenge elections results in certain states, done all the time. Check. Pressure on election officials, check. Support for legislation that changes how voters are counted, how votes are counted, check. Rhetoric about fraud that's been used to justify new restriction, check. All of those things are checked
Yep.
perfectly. Go ahead. Yep.
Supporters of these leaders say the goal is to restore trust in elections. By who? Who says, who can prove that our elections have any fraud in it? I haven't seen a single piece of evidence that says, generally across the board, that there are mass amounts, mass thousands of people who are that need to have the trust in our elections restored. Critics say the change can make voting harder for specific groups. Of course.
Two interpretations, two narratives, and democracy is caught dead smack in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
that's pretty standard stuff. We all know what the purpose is. We all know because it happens every single time. I mean, let me just jump off subject for 1 second. I mean,
Okay.
think about when President Obama was president, and President Obama got the world to um, come together and say, you know what? We don't think that Iran at this time should have a nuclear bomb. They put a policy together, a program together. They put guardrails up, people to go in and check. Iran said, okay, we'll accept that. They signed it. They were doing everything they were supposed to be doing. And then what happens? Donald Trump comes in, cuts it off, tears up the piece of paper, flushes it down the toilet. And that today and what's going on today is the exact result of tearing up that world approved plan, almost 10 years ago. And it broke. And all the leaders who supported us when President Obama got this, they're like, no, we're not going to do it. We just started this war.
Yeah.
You started.
Yeah.
Now
Exactly.
we're running up billions of dollars of money bombing these people. It's not changing anything. You got oil prices shooting out the yin yang because the strait is closed or Iran's making it difficult for ships to come through. It's just silliness. It's like a high
Silliness.
school fight between.
And we'll go back to what Nancy Pelosi always said, Mr. Break every damn thing he get his hand on. That's what you call him, Mr. Break everything, you know? So, yeah. Let's move on to who benefits when voting gets harder.
Let's zoom out. When voting gets harder, who benefits?
Historically, restrictions have rarely benefited the marginalized communities. When the electorate becomes smaller, older, and less diverse, the political outcome shifts.
So the real question isn't just is somebody rigging the election, it's who gains power when fewer people can participate.
And that's a question every voter, regardless of party, should sit with for for a while.
Yeah, and this is something that you've heard me say, and all of you guys have heard me say for a very long time, which is why I constantly call out the same people who were sitting behind this president during his inauguration. The same big
Exactly.
box companies. that we go and buy stuff from all the time, what did they get out of the process? What
So
was Amazon and Jeff Bezos looking for by supporting Donald Trump, by buying the Washington Post and then telling them not to make bad comments about the president? What did he get out of that? How much money has been funneled to Amazon or his companies? What about his space program that he was trying to get up and running? How did that happen? What did he have to do in order to get that? All these companies that dropped their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, what did they get out of that by doing that? I mentioned before that Costco has already come out and said they didn't lose a dime. They said they weren't doing it. They're not losing a dime. We're not closing ours. Why didn't the other companies do that? Why didn't Walmart do that? Walmart's CEO can look at any store in the United States and see a very diverse crowd going in and buying their goods.
mhm.
But they said, no, we don't care about them. We're more interested in getting the money that this president is going to funnel to us in some way, shape, or form. That's what you need to look at. How much money are these companies making? How much are the American public? How much is the American public being fleeced financially through what's going on right now? Go ahead.
So at the beginning of the election, all these guys were front and center. All these billionaires were front and center because they were getting what they wanted, and Donald Trump was saying the right things and everything.
Right.
When is the last time you seen Jeff Bezos? When is the last time you seen what's his stupid guy name from South Africa? What's his name?
Oh,
The
Elon Musk.
rich, yeah, Elon Musk, the rich stupid guy.
Yeah.
You don't see these guys anymore. And quiet as it is kept, a lot of those companies that got rid of DEI are quietly putting them back in place and not letting anybody know about it, quietly as it's kept, you know.
Well,
So
because that's because it's getting close to election time.
yeah, exactly. There's a reason behind all of this stuff.
Yep.
But all those guys that you saw around Trump at these rallies and doing all this stuff are slowly going in the background because they don't want to get hurt when the next administration and the next Congress take over. They know that there's going to be some things that they got to answer to and everything.
Oh, because what you're going to see, people, and make sure you keep your eyes on this. What you're going to see is you're going to start seeing all these commercials with people who look like Tony and I. Right? They're gonna go out and pay some, celebrity who's broke or who needs money to sell their product. And they're just gonna market to you as if they were never left you, as if they
Yeah,
never walked away from you. That's what they're gonna do.
yeah,
You're gonna see the McDonald's commercials of them with some, some dude shooting basketball in the neighborhood, as if McDonald's is truly in the neighborhood. That's what
right.
you're gonna see. You're gonna see entertainers, athletes out here shilling for these companies because they recognize that the tides are changing. So they're gonna market to you as if, again, they have not left you. And I'm
Yeah.
saying to you, recognize who was not at your side when this
This
administration
madness guy.
right, when this administration was suing civil rights organizations, when this administration is trying to erase the history of people who share your reflection. Keep that in mind, who was sitting behind him when he got elected.
Yep. As we get close to the end of our show here, we're gonna talk to you a little bit about what can you, the listener, do. That's very important. So
Yeah. All right. So let's bring this home. Number one, check your voter registration early. Don't wait until the week of the election. Number two, learn your state's rules. They can change more than people realize.
keep going. Go ahead.
Number three, support organizations that help people navigate the process. Four, talk to your family. Voting is a team sport.
There you go. Those are real things, people. A lot of the things that we talked about, these are solid things that you can do to change this thing around and keep our representatives straight because we seem to forget that these people work for us. We seem to forget we pay their salary. Every time you get a paycheck and the federal government takes your money, we're paying them in some form or fashion. So these solid things that Suleiman just put down there, four different things that you could do as an individual, and never say that my vote don't count, and that the things that you're doing in your community to get other voters out to vote don't count. It does count. It's very important, and keep that in mind. Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Suleiman?
Yeah, man. I think you did a great job. And, we got to speak up, man. Not just speak up, man.
Yeah.
You need to fight, man.
Yeah. We
You
got
need
to
to,
fight.
And just let's keep it going, man, and go ahead and take this house back.
And you said it earlier, democracy is not a spectator sport. Whether you believe the system is being protected or manipulated, the truth is this: your voice only matters if you use it. Period.
Yeah, and I mean, before we get off, man, I just wanted to kind of touch on what we talked about at the beginning of the podcast. And we love the comments, most of the comments that we get from people. So if you have something to say, you think there's something we said that's wrong, and we're not above, making a mistake and saying something that's not accurate. If we said something that's not accurate, we'll come out and apologize for it and correct it at the next segment. But we want comments. We are not children, and we're not going to engage in conversations like children. We're men of a certain age, men that have served this country honorably. And we have respect for our policies and our procedures and the way this country is supposed to be. Despite all of this country's faults and what it has done to people who share our reflection, we are still Americans and we still are proud of the United States. So our comments and our communication on this platform is going to be based off that. And we're going to respond to you like gentlemen and like men when you put comments in the comment section. That's all.
Thank you for saying that. I got on another note, and it's very short and to the point. We're engaged in a war that's gone on far too long,
Mhm.
that we don't know if there's an end to anytime soon or not. Uh, I don't know if it's gone unnoticed or not, but we don't have a we don't have a chief of staff of army, and we don't have a secretary of the navy.
Yep.
We're in the middle of a war with a blockade. Navy is doing a blockade, and although the secretary of the navy don't have too many operational duties, they do have a policy duty, and crafting the right type of blockade, or when the blockade is implemented and all that other stuff, is an administrative duty. Sure, the Secretary of the Navy or the Commandant of the Navy, that's the Marines, Commandant Marine. Yeah, but the Secretary of the Navy is gonna be the one that's gonna have uh the operational challenges and stuff. But it don't let it go unnoticed that these people are walking away. Slowly, these people are walking away because they know what they're not doing. They know what they're doing is not only a lack of, I don't know how you're gonna say it. There's no
Integrity.
plan,
Integrity.
integrity, no, yeah, that's the best word for it. It's a lack of integrity. So I just wanted to bring that to light, that we're fighting a war without some of the most important leaders that we need.
Exactly. And the military, our military has always answered to civilian leadership, and no one is challenging that. I mean, our president has the final say on our military and what we do and our tactics. But we have people in charge at the highest ranks of our military that have tactical experience, have historical knowledge about wars, and understand how to achieve our goals with the least amount of people losing their lives and the least amount of damage to whoever that we're going after. Our civilian leadership right now is not listening to them. And the reality is that's going to get us into a situation that we're not going to be able to get out of without going into a full war. And no one in the world wants a full war. And so I think that what we need to do as Americans is pressure our civilian leadership to make decisions that are best for our country. And
Well
I think
said.
that's where we're lacking. Like you said, the Secretary of the Navy has walked away. The Army leadership has walked away. You got a lot of um, military generals and admirals that are retiring and leaving the military service that probably would have stayed in for another 5 or 10 years because they don't like what's going on. And what that does is that brings junior people up that don't have the experience and don't have the foresight to be able to provide our civilian leadership with the right answers. And that's a problem.
Lastly, before I go, the decisions that these leaders are going to make, officers and enlisted leadership, are going to affect these men and women for a long time, because they're putting young men and women in harm's way,
Yep.
and it messes with your mind.
Yep.
Believe me. So That's it for this week. Until next week, this is Gents Making Sense. I'm Marvin,
And I'm Sulman.
and we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.